Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about piecewise-defined function. Basically what this is, we are having to put two or more functions or two or more lines or graphs in one single graph. And I'll show you what this means by just basically helping you through and guiding you through graphing this one right here. Your piecewise functions will look sort of like this. You're going to have your f of x right here as usual, and then we're going to have two functions, one on the top and one on the bottom. Sometimes there's three, sometimes there's four. It really depends on what you want it to do, but you get the idea. It's not just one function, but there's two or more functions. Now, first thing that I'm going to focus on is my x's. These x's right here, the one that I'm marking, they tell you where your graph is going to be. So I'm going to tell so that one right there tells you where my graph is going to be. So let's see what that means. So first of all, this is my x-axis and that's my y-axis. One of the bad things about this program is that it's not going to let me graph a straight line. So that's going to be difficult, but we'll work with that. So my first graph right there, I'm going to graph it with my orange. It says x is less than 0. So here's a 0, and on my x's right here, anything less than 0 should be going from here to here. Is that correct? So I'm going to mark myself and say that's my first graph. That's where my first graph is going to be. And my second graph, which I'm going to graph in green, it says x is greater than or equal to 0, so it's going to be from here to here. So that right there is my borderline. Okay? And my first graph is going to be on the left, and my second graph is going to be on the right. I'm going to go ahead and erase this so I can go ahead and work out how we would work out the very first function for you. So let's look at our first function. Our first function says f of x is equal to 2x plus 3. So my first step is just simply writing that out, just so we'll know that's the one that we're going to be working on. Oh, that's cool. F of x is equal to 2x plus 3. Alright, so first of all, we know that green line right there that you see, that green line, is where you need, it's a dividing line. And I'll show you what that means. The very first procedure is on my orange, I have to plug in 0 because of this number that they gave you, so I'm going to have to plug in 0. So f of 0 is equal to, let's go ahead and plug it in, 2 times 0 plus 3. And now I get 2 times 0 is 0 plus 3. And I end up getting 3. So basically, if I put this in order pair form, guys, my x was 0, and when I plugged in 0, I received 3. So that's how I would do that. So I'm going to go up to 3. So my x is 0, my y is 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and put a dot there. I'm trying to be accurate. This is really difficult. Okay, so now I have to decide. Do you remember from Algebra 1 when it's a less than or greater than, just like this, it would be an open circle. So yes, I would have an open circle. Now I'm going to go ahead and erase some parts of this right here. Tell me, what can we write down f of x as? I think we all know that f of x is a different way to say y. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down to recognize something that we already know. So our y, so f of x is the same thing as y. So I have y is equal to 2x plus 3. Isn't this the form that we're so familiar with? Isn't this the same thing as y is equal to mx plus b? So in this case, my slope is equal to 2. So from here, on my dot, since my slope is 2, I have to go rise 2 over 1. So if I go rise 2 over 1, that's basically where my dot will be in my graph. It'll go that way. And if you look at this, you will say, no, that's not right, because my first graph is supposed to be going to my left. So I definitely messed this up. I'm going to try to fix it. Alright, so my graph was right here. So I'm going to swap the slope by just negating both numerator and denominator. So I have -2 over -1. So I'm going to go down 2 and left 1. So that would be my dot, and I'm going to connect those. This is not the most accurate graph, but you get the idea. So that's how I would graph my first one. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to graph the second one because it's the same. And for those of you that's wondering, what about the graphs that we did in class and that had 3 different graphs? I'm going to work on it, but I'm going to have to work on it on a separate video. So we'll have 2-part video on this time. So let's go ahead and work on the second graph. The second one says f of x is equal to -3x minus 2. I'm doing the same thing. F of x is equal to -3x minus 2. Alright, so this time I'm going to work in green, and I'm doing the same thing. They tell you to plug in 0, and so where it is, so I'm going to plug that in. So f of 0 is equal to -3 times 0, so that becomes 0 minus 2. So I ended up getting, when I plug in 0, I get -2. I'm going to go ahead and plot that here. I'm going to go 0 and -2, get a circle on it, but look, it says a line under it, so it's going to be a closed dot right here. And I'll show you once again how we would graph this. So what would be our slope at this point? Our slope would be -3, just like you would have guessed, just because this is still on y is equal to mx plus b form. So y is equal to -3x minus 2, and this is still on y is equal to mx plus b. So our m this case would be -3. So since our m is -3, we have to, it's going over 1, so I'm going to have down 1. We have to go down 3 and over 1. So it's going to be somewhere over here. I know this, I cannot graph a straight line here, but you see the general idea of how my second graph is going the way that we want it to. So now we know this is an accurate graph. This is as short and sweet as it's going to get. The second part of this video is coming. I promise it is. So give me just a few minutes to upload that too. So if you have any questions, please let me know.